Hi friends, the fact that you've clicked on this link probably means that you've just finished reading the book, Is Your Thinking Keeping You Poor? 50 Ways the Rich Think Differently. If so, thank you very much for buying the book, and I hope that it contributes greatly to your total prosperity and cuts down the trajectory between poverty and prosperity for you. If you haven't read the book, please don't worry and keep watching anyway. These ideas will benefit you nevertheless. Now, at the end of the book, I mentioned that I would be giving you some additional resources to spur your thinking and help you on your path to prosperity. So to that end, what I'd like to do now is to spur your thinking with 6 challenges. And I'll phrase them in the form of what ifs. So, the first what if. What if you finally freed yourself from the burden of blame? It's a very human thing to do. When we find ourselves struggling financially, our gut reaction is to blame our past, our background, our parents, our government, the previous government, any form of external scenario for the situation we're in. Now, of course, here's the thing about that. Even if your complaint is valid, even if you're right, continuing to blame an external source, continuing to hang on to the past, fails to emancipate you and give you the freedom that you need to create your future. So even if you were wrongly done by, hard done by in your past, what if you freed yourself from the burden of holding on to that blame and took accountability for your future? Number 2, what if you finally got on top of your own numbers? Global surveys show that most people are unaware of how much they spend each month, and certainly the same is true in South Africa. What if you finally nailed down the exact amount that's coming off your accounts every month? Most of us have a rough idea of what we think is coming off our accounts. But the truth is, if it's even 100 Rand more than that, perhaps 1,000 Rand more than that, at the end of a year, you've gone backwards by over 10,000 Rand. Amplify that over a 10-year period, and suddenly you're caught by surprise, wondering, how did I get 100,000 Rand in debt? And it happens that easily. What if you finally got on top of your numbers and knew exactly what you were using your money for? Number 3, what if you created the space to debate these ideas at home? Surveys also show that most poor and working class families don't talk about money concepts other than to complain that there isn't enough, which is the same thing as not talking about them at all. In wealthier families, the culture built into the family is to debate and to discuss ideas around money. Now, the great part about that is that you don't necessarily have to have the right ideas. It's the debate itself that's important. And the reason for that is that the economy is always changing. Industries are always changing. The things that work and make people wealthy change and evolve over time. So it's the debate that's important. Now, if you're looking for content, why not take the 50 ways that I propose and debate each of them? Make it a 5-minute, 10-minute discussion around the dinner table. Bring up the idea and ask who agrees, who disagrees, and why. I'm thick-skinned about this. I don't mind if you disagree with my ideas. In fact, that's a good thing. It's the debate that matters. I want you haggling over the ideas, and I want you thinking deeply and passionately about the kind of levers that can help you to become wealthy. Number 4, this is the big one and perhaps the most scary one. What if you challenged yourself to become your own boss? Almost every survey ever done on significant personal wealth has revealed that first-generation millionaires and billionaires are almost always the owners of their own business. Now, as I covered in Is Your Thinking Keeping You Poor, that doesn't mean that you have to become the head of a factory or to own a large office in a business park. There are all manner of ways of looking at that equation of becoming your own boss. But the really simple equation is this: you have to own the thing that you sell. And as I said in the book, there are many ways of going about that. But what if you challenged yourself to start moving toward that scenario, where you own the thing that you sell and you are your own boss? How long would it take you to get there, and what are the next steps that you can take in order to make that real? Number 5, what if you left the 99% and became part of the 1%? Now, I'm being intentionally misleading here. I'm actually not talking about personal wealth. I'm talking about reading statistics. In South Africa, less than 1% of people go into bookstores and spend their own money on books. Less than 1%. That's almost akin to saying South Africans don't buy books. What if you left the 99% and became part of the 1% who know that the solutions are out there? What if you became a constant and avid reader, always upgrading your value, always upgrading your knowledge, and adding those levers to your life that can help you to exponentially multiply your personal wealth? And finally, number 6. What if you spent the remainder of this year, just this year, radically improving one soft skill? Remember, we discussed at some length in the book, and in fact I touch on this in Relentlessly Relevant, the idea that an academic degree is only entrance into the game, and in some cases you don't even need it as entrance into the game. An academic degree does not necessarily lead to wealth, and in and of itself it is not a wealth creation mechanism. It is what I call a yes, but. Yes, it's entrance into the game, but it does not automatically make you rich. I then went on to explore how it's the soft skills that tend to help people to become their own boss, grow a business, or prosper in a career. It's about raising your personal value. Now, what if you went and honed in on one soft skill and dramatically increased your ability in that one area between now and the end of the year? That's not a long time commitment. The ones that tend to get the most dramatic and radical results are leadership skills, public speaking skills, and people and persuasion skills, all the things down the networking lines. For my money, I would add to that list reading and comprehension skills. I think that's one of the most important of the lot. What if you challenged yourself between now and the end of the year to dramatically increase your ability in one of those things? The one that you identify as being the most relevant to your career and having the most leverage for you. What if you look differently at the world around you? What if it's thinking that keeps us poor? What if there are things that the rich do differently? I hope that you'll take those 50 ideas and debate the heck out of them with your friends and family. It's the debate that matters. It's thinking and engaging deeply around those ideas that gets their value multiplying. My personal goal is to help people in this country to graduate from the ridiculous problems of how to feed a family, problems we should have left behind a long time ago, to more interesting problems, like how do we explore space and cure cancer. That's the kind of thing we should be focusing on. Thanks for your time, and thanks very much for reading Is Your Thinking Keeping You Poor? Please do check out the rest of my website, which gives away free videos and articles on all things entrepreneurial, because as you know, I believe deeply in entrepreneurship. Stats for South Africa show that over 65% of our youth don't believe in entrepreneurship, and yet almost every survey and think tank has explored the idea that becoming an entrepreneur and starting and raising small businesses is the path to prosperity, for the nation as a whole, and for you in particular. So let's change the thinking. Let's challenge ourselves. What if our thinking were keeping us poor? And what if we could change that thinking, and in doing so, change our own trajectories?